What has changed based on your experience over the last 10 to 15 years?
So I am just delighted to be here, and I think this is really a timing issue that right now is exactly what we need to do is think about how nurses that have been in leadership positions can use their voice to help the profession. I've been in nursing education a long time, and I think I can say that in the last 10 to 15 years, the changes have been dramatic. Um, the fact of how much more science there is to know now than 10 to 15 years ago, there's been an explosion of healthcare science. We know so much more about the human body. We have the same number of muscles, the same number of bones, but we have so much more knowledge about genetics, pathophysiology, drug interactions, the genetics of drugs. We've expanded the amount of treatment available for chronic illnesses. We're living at a time where in the 1990s, everybody that got AIDS died when the 5-year mortality for cancer was so high. Now we've got people who have metastatic breast cancer and people who have brain tumors and pancreatic cancer, and they're living lives of purpose and meaning far beyond anything. And what this boils down to is nurses have to know more. So the science of teaching nursing students and the ability to prepare people to be effective, safe nurses has really changed. And then that all accelerated with COVID because it was not just that there was so much more to know. I mean, when you think of it, 3 to 4 years ago, nobody was talking about COVID, you know, and all of a sudden we had a whole new dimension of illness that we had to measure and therapies we had to deal with. And nurses who had never thought they'd look at a ventilator were all of a sudden having to be experts in ventilatory support. So all of this has, it's impacted nursing education. It's changed the way that we look at how we deal with patients. And then from a societal perspective, nursing education has to wrap its arms around social determinants of health and realize that lifestyle, that the modifications to lifestyle are going to be the only path we have to improve the quality of health and life across the globe.
Mm-hmm.
So if, the challenge today is people who are involved in nursing education have a higher level of accountability to develop learning programs and student support that's more effective for a more challenging profession. Nursing, healthcare, period, is a more challenging field than it's ever been.
There's not enough just to have the knowledge, right? So we can even look at the evidence-based medicine that says if we do A, B, C, this is going to create a different outcome for you.
Yeah.
But if you don't believe that and truly believe that you're worthy, and I think that's one of the things, Sheila, is going back to that place of, I am important.
Worth it.
I am worth it. I
Yes.
do believe that, I can take 5 minutes out of my day, my stressful day of
Yes.
taking care of X amount of patients, or people that you're short staffed, right? You're having to do more, even your own job has more duties. Even if it takes 3 minutes out of your day just to breathe, it's a decision. It's a decision you have to make for yourself.
And that's where some of the things that you've talked about and you and Sharon have talked about in these interviews, you can't give from an empty pitcher.
Yes.
And that's a very powerful model. And again, that was one of the things Stephen Covey had in the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, was this idea that, and nurses can be very much um, guilty
Yes.
of not putting themselves first. So I'm a member of the American Holistic Nursing Association, and I believe Sharon has been a member and a leader in that organization for a number of years. And this is really important. And I invite anybody, you don't have to be a nurse, you go to the American Holistic Nursing Association website, they have a lot of resources about self-care. And
Yes.
self-care is crucial. You can't be a good mother, you can't be a good nurse, you can't be a good business person if you are so fatigued and so overwhelmed and you're not well nourished. You just, so you look at people who have been really, truly effective leaders and they have healthy lifestyles.
Mhm.
They do. The people who sustain and persevere,
Yes.
they do make good choices. And
Yeah.
it's unfortunate because a lot of those people, they don't grab the headlines, you know. And I look at, you mentioned a few times, Dina, I've been a lot of my professional career has been in hospice and end of life care. And I remember meeting Dr. Cicely Saunders many years ago. She was in her 80s. She was this beautiful, elderly English woman. And she was the founder of modern day hospice. And she had cared for so many people, and she made such huge changes and advances in healthcare. And she never got burned out. She never got burned out. Her compassion was unending. But she was also
Mhm.
somebody, and this goes back to I was thinking about this before. The B is for balance. Dr. Saunders loved art. She loved music. She found joy in things that were simple and accessible, but she fed her soul. She was intentional.
Mm.
She fed her soul. And so, people have said to me, well, how can you be in hospice? You'll get burned out. You don't get burned out. It's like a candle.
Mhm.
If
Mm.
you find a way to keep your fire lit, you can light lots and lots of fires without going out.
Mm. I
So
love that.
I think this is where, if people are feeling like they don't know where to start with something simple and start with something that's easy to do, and then go from there. And there's probably people that are listening that are connoisseurs of wine or tea or cheese or music, and it's when you start to study something, you learn more and more. And so when
Mm.
a nurse or a physician or a respiratory therapist begins to study how they can
Mhm.
be healthier,
Mhm.
you find more and more, but you have to focus on it. You can't keep putting it to the end. It can't be something that you say, gee, I'm going to be healthier, and then I just don't do anything about it. You have to take action.
You do. And I want to, kind of circle back around for some really key takeaways today because they're really powerful. Number one, the evidence is there. The evidence says, you know what, if you don't take care of yourself, no one's going to do it for you. And that if you do take care of yourself, you can make a change. And you said something too that really hit home for me, and I wrote it down. It's time for people to light your candle, but light your candle for yourself, making a decision to make sure that your pitcher doesn't go empty. Find compassion for yourself, find a connection for yourself, and find some of those simple joys, especially as we get close in during the holidays today. We've really got to stop and just take a look around and find some of the simple joys, but take time to actually breathe because no one's taking time to even take a breath.
That's really powerful, Dina. And because I'm working with nursing education, there was a textbook that came out. It's an educate. Well, it's not a textbook, but it's for faculty. It's called an educator's guide to humanizing nursing education, and it talks about students learn best when the teacher cares.
Mm-hmm.
And then it circles right back and says, but the
Right.
teacher that's going to be most effective is the teacher who can teach the students the importance of self-care.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so, what would be the greatest gift I could give somebody if I was teaching them to be a nursing professional is to help them to honor their own truth and take care of themselves
Mm-hmm.
in ways that are healthy, because ultimately the best nurses are the ones who can help patients find a way to take care of themselves, because
Mm-hmm. Yep.
it is how we empower other people
Mm-hmm.
that is really our legacy.
I love that. And a takeaway for leadership. Number one, take care of yourself so that it can boil downhill and run downhill onto people that, you're leading, but also give them an opportunity to find one thing that can light the candle or fill their cup. If you do that one thing in the next 30 days, you've given them a gift of something that maybe they've not had time to think about in a while.
Yeah.
And as Dr. Sheila Burke says, The evidence is very clear. If we don't take and believe that we can take care of ourselves, we're never going to be able to change healthcare, and we certainly can't bring the health back to healthcare, also including for our own lives. And it goes with us. It starts with us first. And I think that's what you said today.
Yeah. And I just really think that, it's all possible. It's
Yep.
all possible. And I've been so motivated myself by looking at the lives of some of the people who have overcome tremendous challenges.
Yes.
And I think, you know, all of us can make positive change, and we just need to start, but it won't work unless we believe we're worth it.
Right. I love that. And we want to send back a message to everybody. You're worth it. I
Yes.
wanted to thank you, Dr.
Thank
Sheila
you.
Burke. You're amazing.
Thank
Thank
you
you for
so
being
much.
with us today. I
Thank
love
you
what
so
you've
much.
shared with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care.
You too.
Bye.